2019, I was officially offered this job at Granite Hills High School to teach theater, and I jumped at it. It's a theater program that has needed some love. Since 2014, they've had 4 theater teachers and a lot of turnover and a lot of chaos. And I felt like it was my job then to come in and give them a sense of theater the way that it needed to be for these kids. I will tell you as we're going through, and you're going to see a lot of stuff, and I'm going to show you some before and after photos. It is not my intent at all to badmouth any of the teachers that came before, because I'm a firm believer that people do the best they can with what they have. And the person that led the program for the last 4 years was the full-time choir director who had a love for theater, but trying to juggle that plus a young child is an insurmountable task. And I know that her focus was not on the theater facility, and it didn't need to be. She kept this program alive, and I am forever grateful for her. This is a story about my journey in turning this facility and this program into something new. Hi, I'm Kirsten Branch, and we are here at Granite Hills High School in El Cajon, California. We are in Southern California, which means that all of our schools are outside. Here's my facility. Here you see the entrance to the theater and some really cool artwork. This was done by the art club at the beginning of the school year as a way to kind of delineate the theater. I wanted to have something that said, hey, we're here, we're going to make a statement this year, and the art club was willing to oblige by painting my walls. In addition to that, I had rebranded, so we wanted to make sure that our Eagle logo was everywhere. Let's check out this space over here. This area right here used to sell soda. There would be Pepsi machines actually in this area, and this roll-up door would come up and down during the school day. It's been about 10 years this roll-up door was closed, and it's been kind of a neglected space. So I said, hey, can I please have this space for concessions for my shows? It's a perfect location directly outside the theater. We can store some of our stuff in here, close this, nobody is any the wiser. And then we've got a lovely enclosed area for people to buy concessions. During the show, we have lights on the outside. This year, Granite Hills celebrated its 60th anniversary, and on our opening night of Rock of Ages, we invited the founding theater director and all of the alumni back. And for that, we dedicated this space to the teacher, Barry Bosworth. So now this officially is Barry's Bistro and Concessions. If you continue to walk this way, you'll see again we're kind of all about the branding. This is the door to my office, and then here's the other door to the theater space. So now that you've seen the outside of the space, let's pop on in and check out the theater. One of the major cosmetic changes that I made over the summer was the actual theater space itself. So when the students came in on the very first day, they immediately knew that something was different. So you take a look at the actual house. In the before pictures you saw that it was kind of a grungy beige, and the administration luckily painted this space over the summer. This was the gray color that I chose. I didn't want black because it's such a small space. And we cleaned all the seats, we had the carpets cleaned. There was a funky smell in here, let me tell you. And in addition to that, we put these sound baffles on the sides. All this is these are old flats. I had some donated fabric, and we just covered them, and it helps to abate the sound a little bit. And they're kind of decorative. They remind me of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, which makes me happy. This entire floor right here was built this year. I have a friend of mine whose dad owns a construction company. This used to be just stairs, as you will see in the before photos, and we had this entire stage built out. This was where the original stage was. This is all new, so it gave me about 8 more feet of stage. So these spaces right here, we covered up pretty quickly. In the before pictures, you see that there was a gigantic kind of 1970s accordion thing that hadn't been pulled out for a long, long time. I started to move it and then just decided that that was probably a really bad idea. But it looked really distracting, and so all we did was we just built it its own little house. So we knew that we couldn't take these down, but we knew that also they were an eyesore for the audience. So we just put this little plug here. This is all just made out of 2x2s, screwed into the ground. And all this is just 1/8 inch ply. And it just made it disappear. Most people didn't even notice the change. So we're going to be going into the booth and into my office. It's an odd configuration because they're kind of connected by a little half wall. When I first got here, as you see in the before pictures, there was a lot of stuff. We gutted the entire thing over the summer. My mom and my dad and I, we all painted it. And then I had my technical director come in. He rewired all of the equipment. The school was very generous, bought me a brand new soundboard that is still sitting in a box because March 13th, everything stopped. So come on in, let's check it out. So you'll see here, this is the booth, and this countertop was already here, but we had kind of had to reconfigure things. This is where the light person obviously sits. Our stage manager would be here. Here's where our sound op is. This is the playback computer that the district or the school gave me. And then all of our stuff for sound and microphones and everything kind of goes over here. But as you can see, we painted everything. Now this is a black versus the gray that's on the outside walls because we wanted this wall for sure to disappear if the audience happened to peer back here. Cool thing is these windows open so the technicians can hear. In addition to that, we created a microphone system so that the techies can hear everything that's happening on stage through these speakers. And they're on both sides for both sound and lights. So it's a funky space in that we have this wall, and then this was just a pile of storage. It kind of looks like that right now, but really this is my office. We had to gut all of this, and we repainted it. So this is the same gray that's on the outside theater walls. So we're on the stage here, and you can see that actually the stage is pretty long. We have curtains here that move back and forth to create wing space. This is our snapshot in time in that on March 12th we did a student-directed, produced, and designed assembly of Romeo and Juliet. And then on Friday when we found out we weren't coming back, there was no way we were going to strike anything. We just all had to kind of calm down a little bit. So here we are. These are the wings. You'll see here Romeo and Juliet. Here's the balcony, among other things. This gigantic thing right here came from the football department. They called me, getting rid of an equipment trolley. Would you like it? Sure. Didn't know what it was. And it's huge. But this is where we stored the props for Puffs. If you've ever done the show, you know there's about 175 props in the show. And this is where we were starting to build stuff. I had divided the kids up into prop groups. And this was storing all of our props. So now it's just sitting here half completed. If you follow me this way, so this stage was just super, super long. And what we wanted to do was to create a pass-through because there's no way for students to go from this side of the stage to the other side of the stage unless they went outside these doors right here and ran around the building. So we created this pass-through for scenery and students, etc. These are just flats that are screwed into the wall and screwed into the ground and into each other. And then on the front of these flats actually is a cyc. So we now have a permanently installed cyc, but because it's a cyc, we've also covered it with tarps. And then because blue tarps are not so aesthetically pleasing, we also covered it with this black drape that was actually on that back wall back there. So now we have a way to walk the students back and forth or scenery pieces back and forth without exposing them to the elements. Now we are in Southern California. There's not a lot of elements, but it can get kind of chilly for us in November and in the early spring. So one of my challenges that I had when I came to this facility is there was graffiti everywhere. Random things with pencil and with Sharpie and with spray paint and with paint. So I had to go through and do a lot of painting of black walls, etc. And one of the things then that I also did to kind of indicate, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. So one of the things that I made sure to do was to post these signs all over the facility as just a reminder that I expected respect for the space and for each other. Now, I am very fortunate in this space because the original founder of this program made sure that there were certain things in place for this facility, like dressing rooms. The interesting thing about these dressing rooms, however, is they are made for very small casts. We are in a moment in time here, and this became an obvious thing of there is no way in the world this could be a dressing room for students, because if you take a look, it's precious, right? So I turned this into a storage area for costumes and makeup. So we're going to walk through this pass-through. The interesting thing about why this looks like this is because not only on March 13th did everything have to shut down, but the weekend before that, I had directed a play in a local community theater, Freaky Friday, and most of the set pieces came from this storage, or they were going from the storage of the community theater to here, or it was something I built for the show, so we stored it back here, and it's still here. I also had cleaned out my garage, and we found things. This is for our Foley projects and different things like that, but it's all here. Theater debris. This area was actually the worst for the graffiti. It was everywhere. So I just went ahead and painted it, and then to try to discourage them from doing any of that, it's just done. I posted up these cork boards that I found as I was cleaning, and now this is where we put cast and class announcements for the students. So it was hopefully again to discourage them from writing on the walls anymore, and also to say this is not the place, this is not the time. So I've been to a lot of theater facilities around San Diego County, and I'm going to tell you that Granite Hills has one of the largest storage areas that I've ever seen. So let's come on back here and check out the yard. This entire gated area belongs to the theater department. It is an embarrassment of riches. This right here is the costume shed. It has pre-built shelving and costume racks, as well as removable costume racks. There's a roll-up door to access this area, and I'm not going to let you see it because it's the only place that didn't get cleaned before school started in August, and we've had a show and a half. It's a mess. Embarrassing. But this is the storage area. This is my summer project. So you'll see this is the building area out here. The students work on their projects and such at these tables. This is where things can be painted and built, and I don't have to worry about having tons of people inside my shop. We were in mid-project, so everything is just kind of stopped. There are tarps that go over these areas so the students can actually work in the shade, because in the early fall, it gets quite hot. School was very generous in purchasing lumber racks for me to be able to store all of my lumber. We have tables here also for the students. Let's go check out the grassy knoll. These 3 sheds have been here forever, and this is now where we store all of our furniture. We had 2 sheds with rotting floors, so we replaced those floors over the summertime. This one is next, but it's got other issues as well. But right now, this is holding all of our furniture. The most amazing part of this entire storage area is this shop. If you look, you'll see it is quite tall. There is a rolling door here to get tall stuff out. And let's go on in and we'll take a look. So it's taken a while for us to be able to go through and organize things. There were a ton of these metal cabinets, a little bit of everywhere throughout the facility, and we just kept kind of putting them in here because this is where we needed to stay organized. So here's our shop. And again, we are frozen in time because we're in the process of beginning to build puffs when everything stopped. And we also loaded in parts of the set for Freaky Friday. This side is all pretty much the paint area, with this side over here being the build area with the tools and the hardware. Stuff we still need to go through. Is it perfect? No. But is it a fabulous facility? Yeah. One of the most wonderful things that the school was able to do for me was to purchase for me a flammables cabinet. There was a lot of spray paint here already, and I did notice as I was going through and cleaning up, there was a lot of spray paint graffiti. And so just keep it out of sight, out of mind, and keep it in a flammables cabinet to keep it safe. The other thing they did also was that they wired for me some lights. District electricians came in, and now we can actually see. So if we take a step back and we look up, but this is all my prop storage upstairs. So this is prop storage. And again, when I arrived, it was just a mishmash of stuff. Spent an entire weekend. We got everything out of this space and went through and just purged. So what you see is not much in terms of storage anymore because we had stuff that we just plain had to get rid of. And in addition to that, we were in the process, again, because of our shutdown, pulling things for puffs, moving stuff up here from Freaky Friday. These are the rehearsal swords from Romeo and Juliet. We just have not had a chance to clean up. But if you take a look at this space, it is pretty amazing. And then, as part of one of the things to keep the children away, I actually just jury-rigged this little closed sign up in this compartment here. And believe it or not, all I needed to do was that, and the students that are not supposed to be up in props stay away during tech class. Go figure. Here is again yet my embarrassment of riches, because this is my English classroom. I teach 2 periods of English and then the 3 periods of theater. But this is a double wide. This is set up right now for whatever virtual yearbook distribution thing is going on, so it doesn't usually look like this. But the cool part was that this part could be my classroom. And then when I was in a show, this back part actually became my dressing rooms. And I used the different rolling boards, etc., as a divider, so my student desks were in the front and dressing rooms in the back. So all the actors had to do was to use this space as their dressing room. And over here were the men's and women's bathrooms, which we don't have any bathrooms in the theater facility, so they could use those bathrooms, and they did not have to share restrooms with the actual audience. And then it's just a really quick walk over to the theater where you can kind of see that open blue door. So it made it very convenient to keep the actors into this space here. The challenge was, of course, that there was no way for them to hear anything as far as the show. They had to really, really pay attention. So again, going back to what can you take that is already established and change the purpose of it. This shelving unit here is huge. It's on wheels. And I guess that this was the original prop cabinet forever. At our alumni night for Rock of Ages, we had an alumni that graduated in '92 that said it was their prop cabinet. But for me, it just didn't do what I needed it to do as far as props go. So it came into here, into the dressing room, and this is where the actors could store their stuff during the run of the show. So this is just a little snapshot of my year's journey in taking a facility that needed some love, giving it its love, changing the culture of the space. If you have any questions about your facility or you want to just talk to us about anything, you can reach Julie and I at teachtechtheater@gmail.com or visit our website at www.teachtechtheater.org or check out our YouTube channel, Teach Tech Theater. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you very much.